So today is the next in my series on ranking the animated films that I've seen. It's from 2013 to 2016. This includes 67 films. And so today we're talking about 30 to 21. And so this is the 20s, and all these films I really like a lot. And so that's why they ended up on this spot on the list. Where this is just my list, my opinion, and so your list will be very, very different. And that's awesome. So here we go. Number 30 is called Rocks in My Pockets, and this is a pretty much self-made animated film by an artist called Signe Bomine. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it that wrong. And she's from Latvia originally. Basically, it's a film that chronicles the generations of her family, going back like 3 generations. It starts with her grandma and their history of bipolar depression in their family, and it starts, like I said, with her grandma who was abused and her experiences. And basically the whole idea is that you put rocks in your pockets in order to drown yourself, basically, which sounds, of course, this sounds incredibly depressing, and it is very, very, very sad. But I found there was a real honesty to it in the way that it talked about her experiences that you almost never get in discussions with mental health. And it was actually really moving. And I thought the way that she described the experience of depression was like right on and really powerful. And it's because it's not only about sort of this history of her family, it's about how they persevered in different ways. And I thought it was just beautiful and honest. And the only thing that kind of takes it down is that it has her being the narrator, and because it's not her first language, English isn't her first language, it's a little bit hard. It's a little robotic. Number 29, I have The Secret Life of Pets. And I've not been a big fan of Illumination. I think this is their best film. I think it is charming and sweet, and I really liked Chloe and Gidget. I thought they were really funny characters. And yes, it is a Toy Story knockoff, and yes, it isn't that original or creative, but I don't really care about originality and creative if it's executed well, and I think this is. I do think the snowball and the certain scenes with the bunny just kind of end up coming off kind of mean and shouty versus funny, which I think was their attempt. And also some points where they're trying to sort of wedge in sentimentality with the former owner of Duke, and it was a mistake. But overall, I really liked the animation. I really liked the way it depicted New York. I liked the voice acting, and I just found it charming and sweet and funny. And number 28, I have Anomalisa, and a lot of people would have this much higher on their list, which I totally respect. But for me, I felt like it kind of fell apart a little bit in the final act, Anomalisa, because it just becomes kind of trying to shock you with sexuality as opposed to really telling the story of why Anomalisa is different. You get that she is special and that she's somebody that is the Anomalisa, that's the anomaly. But then I feel like it just kind of abandons that and I don't know, kind of lost me in that third. But it is beautiful. The animation is stunning. And I do think that a lot of the points about sort of the deadening of modern work is very, very moving and stirring. And definitely something I relate to, as work is one of my favorite themes in movies. Number 27 is Boy and the World. And this was nominated, a surprise nominee for Best Animated Film last year. And I thought it's completely charming. The music is so great. You've got this sort of samba music that makes you want to dance. It's very, very joyous, even though it does take on some deeper themes, which I thought got a little preachy at points with some of the sort of anti-capitalism, anti-war kind of themes. Very inventive the way it uses graphics, paper mache, I guess, kind of look to it that to create the whole look. It's very swirling. It's very appealing to watch as far as the artistry of it. And it's a film that will make you very happy when you watch it. So number 26, I have The Box Trolls. And I think this film is underrated. I really like it. Very inventive, the way that it uses something like clothing, or hats in this case, to show how we identify ourselves by different classes. So, or we separate ourselves out, whether it's, the latest sneakers or the latest, it's not about the sneakers being particularly great sneakers. It's the fact that they give this look, that we're a part of a certain class. It's really an allegory of this town and how they use this love of cheese and the love and these hats to exclude certain people. And the villain, he wants to be included. He wants to be recognized so badly, which I thought was really cool motivation for the villain, because most of them it's just about like money or greed or whatever. And he's allergic to cheese, and yet he wants that recognition so bad he doesn't even care. I like the visual style, and other people don't, but I did. And I just thought it was really a cool, inventive story. Number 25, I have Only Yesterday. And this movie, I have come around a lot on. I was a little bit probably too tough on it when I first reviewed it, because the adult sections are less effective than the kid sections. And I have a very high standard when it comes to Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli is a studio that if it's not a masterpiece, I am a little bit disappointed. And this isn't a masterpiece, but it is really good. I love the way that it's just about this girl growing up and the experiences that she has. Even it's just about simple things like when she learns about getting her period, when she deals with a bully, when she deals with a kid having a crush on her, when she deals with her father who's kind of emotionally abusive, when she gets a part in a play, like just sort of when they eat their first pineapple, like just simple stuff. And I love movies like that. And I thought it was sweet and lovely, and the animation, of course, is gorgeous. I think it's just held back a little bit by the adult sections that are a little bit preachy and a little bit blah. So, but the kid stuff is so good. And number 24, I have Mr. Peabody and Sherman. And this is one of my favorite DreamWorks films. I thought this movie was completely charming. It made me laugh throughout. I thought the writing was really solid. I thought the voice work was brilliant by Ty Burrell. And the little boy who plays Sherman, I thought was great. I just thought it was completely charming. I like the animation. I like the way they designed the Wayback Machine. It had the sort of the pop culture jokes that you get with a DreamWorks film, but I thought it did it really well. And I thought it wasn't obnoxious the way a lot of their films can sometimes be as far as the humor. And Patrick Warburton was hilarious in this. Number 23, I have Wrinkles, and I just did a review for Obscure Animation last month on this film. And this is a beautiful film about this man who is Emilio, who's put in a nursing home, along with this man named Miguel, who's kind of a rascal. He's not the greatest guy, but he's doing it with the best of intentions. And I liked the fact that they didn't make all of these old people saints in this movie. And I liked the fact that it was very open and honest. And there's a point where, particularly with this pool, that I was just sobbing every time I watched this movie. It is so sad, but it's really beautiful sad. It's really moving sad, and the animation is great. And it does get a little bit unrealistic at a certain point in the movie, but it's still definitely a very stirring, very moving animated film. Number 22, I have Monsters University. And I know a lot of people aren't as high in this film. I don't really care. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I really like Monsters Incorporated, but it's down the list in my Pixar rankings compared to films like The Incredibles or the Toy Story movies or something like that. And so maybe I wasn't quite as disappointed, but I just really thought what they did with the narrative with Mike was so creative, and that where else in a kid's movie do you have a narrative about a character who has a dream and actually doesn't make the dream? Like, that was so different. He wants to become a scare. That is his dream. He goes through the whole story, and here Sully is the one who ends up becoming the top scare. We know that going into it. So I thought that was so bold that they decided to tell it from Mike's perspective. And you see him just deal with things like envy and also him this friendship starting. But in the end, he learns that his dream was wrong. And that's so bold for an animated film for children, I think. And, he learns that he's a good coach. and that's what he should be doing, and that's what he ends up doing. I do think it loses its way a little bit with the scare games, but they're still visually interesting. I like all the monsters and how they're designed. I love the colors, and I like Helen Mirren's character. I think she's really good, and the way that she sees that what Mike is missing, and she sees that his dream is wrong. So the last one on this list, 21, is How to Train Your Dragon Part 2. And a lot of people like this movie a lot more than I do, which is cool. But I feel like this movie is really strong in telling an epic story. It's a kind of movie that if your kids aren't old enough to watch Lord of the Rings or something like that, then this is a good option for them, because it does have that epic feel. There's battles and there's conflict and beautiful scenes of Hiccup flying on Toothless, and that I love scenes with flying, and so those really get me, and even he ends up basically flying himself with his sort of contraption that he makes, and that's really wonderful. And I think the relationship between him and his father continues to grow, and that's really nice. I guess where it loses me a little bit is I think some of the thing with the alphas and their like hypnotizing powers and how that's all, I think that gets a little convoluted and confusing, to be honest. And I don't like the way that they have the mother comes back and they just totally let her off the hook. It's like, oh well, you had to leave your family, oh well, too bad, but we forgive you, we love you. I don't know, I just don't feel like that's right. I feel like that was a really horrible thing she did. Yes, she may have had some reasons, some motivation, but I feel like the movie does not handle that well and doesn't take it sort of seriously enough. It's just too easily sort of discounted for my taste, to be honest. But I think the music is really great, and like I said, the flying sequences and just sort of the epic storytelling. So that's why it's this high on my list. It's pretty high. But anyway, I know it'd be a lot higher for others. So that is my 30 through 21. Let me know what you think of this ranking. Next week we'll be we'll be going into the top 20, which will be really exciting. So thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.